Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I have been advised by the MCDO Credentials Committee that we have a quorum pursuant to our bylaws. As such, I call this reorganization meeting of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization to order. My name is David Bander. I'm I'm a member of the Plainsboro Township Committee, and I'm the parliamentarian for the Middlesex County Democratic Organization. Right, 14th district. As stated in our bylaws, I will act as chairperson pro tem for this meeting until the chair is elected later this evening. Before we start the meeting, I'd like to go over a couple of ground rules. First, please make sure all cell phones are turned off or on vibrate. We do not want to disturb the candidates during their speeches. Second, the meeting is closed to the press. We ask that no recording devices be turned on and no recordings taken during this meeting. Third, the only people permitted to vote are the county committee members who have been certified by the county clerk's office and are wearing an orange wristband. If you have any questions about your eligibility to vote, please go to the check-in table immediately if you have questions. The fourth is that no one is permitted to be near the voting machines unless they are in line to vote during the voting process. The voting machines are through those two doors at the back of the room. Finally, we ask that you stay in your seat until everyone votes during the voting process. I've been advised by MCDO staff that going to the bathroom will be increasingly difficult as the evening wears on. So please, if you could do that before the voting begins, we'd really appreciate it. I'd also like to recognize some of the elected officials in this room. First, from the Middlesex County Board of Chosen Freeholders, Freeholder Director Ron Rios. Freeholder Charles Tamero. Freeholder Kenneth Armwood. Freeholder Charles Kenny. Freeholder Santinera. And the candidate for a freeholder, Clary Escona Barber. Our County Clerk, Elaine Flint. Sheriff Mildred Scott. Some of the members from our state legislature, Assemblyman Dan Benson from the 14th District. Assemblyman Wayne D'Angelo from the 14th District. Assemblyman Andrew Zwicker from the 16th District. Assemblyman Roy Fryman from the 16th District. Assemblyman Joseph Danielson from the 17th District. Assemblyman Robert Karavichak from the 18th District. Assemblywoman Nancy Pinkin from the 18th District. Speaker Craig Coughlin from the 19th District. Assemblywoman Yvonne Lopez from the 19th District. State Senator Bob Smith from the 17th District. And State Senator Pat Digan from the 18th District. Some of our mayors in attendance tonight: Mayor Brad Cohen from East Brunswick. Mayor Jonathan Bush from Metuchen. Mayor Ron DeMura from Middlesex Borough. Mayor Jerry Tamburo from Monroe. Mayor Charlie Carley from South Brunswick. and Mayor Peter Cantu from Plainsboro. I'd like to now recognize and ask U.S. Navy Operations Specialist, Petty Officer Second Class, and newly elected Sayer Councilman Damon Enriquez to come up to the stage and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. High School, for his service during Desert Storm, Haiti, and the Bosnian conflict, he received 8 awards, including the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal. Thank you, Specialist Enriquez, and all the other servicemen and women for your service.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you again, Before we begin tonight, I'd like to take a moment to honor some individuals that we've lost this past year, leaders in our community, our friends and loved ones. In the last 2 weeks alone, we lost Committeewoman Carol Tamburo, wife of Monroe Mayor Jerry Tamburo, former Middlesex County Clerk and Sayreville Councilman Rennie Travisino, Kenneth Warren Koppel, father of Freeholder Koppel, Committeewoman Mary Roselli of South River, and so many more. Please join me in a moment of silence to honor their memory. Moving now to the elections, consistent with the MCDO bylaws, the Secretary has received written notice from 2 candidates seeking the role as chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization, and 2 candidates seeking the role of Vice Chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization within the time permitted and described in our bylaws. Candidates seeking to be elected as Vice Chair will be nominated and seconded from the floor by individuals of their choice. These candidates will then come to the podium and have up to 10 minutes to address the county committee members. We will then have candidates seeking to be elected as the Chair, nominated and seconded from the floor by individuals of their choice. These candidates will also have 10 minutes to address the county committee members. All individuals nominating candidates will have 5 minutes to speak, and individuals seconding each nomination will have 1 minute to speak. Once all speeches are complete, committee members will then walk out the back doors, those 2 doors in the back, to vote at one of the 6 voting machines outside. After voting, you will walk back into this room using the front doors to my left, those doors right there. As I mentioned earlier, if you are a committee person and do not have an orange wristband, please go to the registration table immediately. Only individuals with an orange wristband will be allowed to vote. We will now move to nominate our Vice Chair for the Middlesex County Democratic Organization. First, to nominate Charlie Kratovil of New Brunswick for Vice Chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization. The Chair recognizes Plainsboro County Committeewoman Herb Tarbous.
Fortunate to be able to speak today as a committeewoman. My name is Herb Tarbous. I'm a 4th year writing police student at Rutgers with a major in astrophysics, but a budding career in politics and public service. I represent Plainsboro's 13th district, but above all, I'm a member of Generation Z, a young person actively trying to fight for progress and change, keep our planet running and our democracy intact, not just for me and my generation, but for many generations to come. That's why I joined the Democratic Party, and that's why I constantly strive to better. That's why today I'd like to nominate an activist, a visionary, and a friend, Charlie Kratovil, to serve as this body's Vice Chair. Most Rutgers students with burgeoning interest in local politics and government become very quickly familiar with Charlie's work in New Brunswick, which is also how I came to work and rally around his vision for the city. Our ideals aligned. Our politics were people-centric, and our goals were to bring the community out of the grip of corporate greed and into the hands of the individuals that live in it. I saw my future in the work that Charlie had done on the ground, establishing himself as a powerhouse, a constant presence standing with the city and against corruption and deception. As the president of Are You Progressive, one of the largest student-run political groups in New Jersey, and in my work as a Rutgers Senate Student Caucus leader, and as an organizer for several political and environmental campaigns across the state, I've had the privilege of working with Mr. Kratovil and making real change. We have some real issues in this country and around the nation: the climate crisis, our broken healthcare system, our broken tax system, stagnant wages, the lack of affordable housing, police misconduct and brutality, political corruption, and the privatization of our public resources. Charlie has the right stance that we young people want to see in our representatives. He's a champion ready to lead the fight for better healthcare and equitable education access. He's been fighting against fracking, pollution, and fossil fuel industries for years, and he's a committed advocate for improved public transportation and addressing the climate crisis head-on. For change to happen, we need new leaders to step up and fight for our communities. When young people at Rutgers begin their public involvement, Charlie's there to help mentor, educate, and work with them, so that we can build power and support the larger community. Charlie has supported our student candidates from the very beginning, selflessly helping Rutgers students and community members team up to run the county committee and board of education in our city. That's why Charlie earned our endorsement to be the next mayor, and why so many of us volunteered to join him in his ongoing fight for clean air, clean water, and clean government. He did better than any independent candidate in our county and earned the support of more than 1,800 residents despite a terrible ballot position and a deeply entrenched opponent. But Charlie just doesn't do politics or public service. For nearly a decade, he's been one of the top journalists in our county, winning awards for scandals he reported on at New Brunswick's water utility, New Brunswick Housing Authority. Charlie is the founder and editor of New Brunswick Today, and in that capacity, he has carried over 100 reporters, many of whom got their start in journalism with him. Charlie is the truest champion of people I've ever had the privilege of meeting and working with, and as Democrats, we deserve a leader who can take us down the path for progress and public good. I urge you all to vote for Charlie Kratovil. Thank you.
Thank you, Committee Women. To second the nomination of Charlie Kratovil, the Chair recognizes Monroe County Committeewoman Catherine Hunt.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Catherine Hunt. I'll just start to introduce myself a little bit. I was a candidate for county freeholder in Middlesex County in 2017 when I was humbled to receive over 10,000 votes from my fellow Democrats. And this year, I'm so excited to join the committee and serve my district. But I'm even more excited tonight to second the nomination presented by my colleague from Plainsboro for candidate Charlie Kratovil. Charlie is a committed advocate for the people of New Brunswick, and that's what I witnessed firsthand when I volunteered on his impressive campaign for mayor last year. He may not have won, but he pressured an 8-term incumbent to join the fight for $15 an hour and successfully fought for some of the lowest paid public workers to receive well-deserved raises. I'm a retired registered nurse and public health nurse, and I care deeply about fixing our healthcare system. That's why I helped register voters in Alabama when we made history by electing President Obama back in 2008. And that's why tonight I'm proud to second the nomination for a leader in the fight for improved Medicare for all, Charlie Kratovil, our next Vice Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Committeewoman. To nominate Beatrice Moskowitz of Metuchen for Vice Chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization, the Chair recognizes Senator Pat Dyken of South Plainfield.
Thank you. It is an honor to place into nomination to continue to serve as Vice Chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization, Beatrice Moskowitz. It is no coincidence that our organization is recognized as the most successful and inclusive Democratic committee in New Jersey. You know the old expression, success is the byproduct of hard work. Our chair, Kevin McCabe, knew what he was doing when he asked Beatrice to serve as his vice chair. Beatrice is intelligent, hardworking, and passionate about the issues we as Democrats hold most dear. She is a loving mother, former teacher and principal, former Metuchen council member, former municipal chair, and has led more volunteer organizations than I have time to list. In other words, no one can come close to her qualifications. Now let me tell you a story about Beatrice, which I think sums it up more than anything else. I can put down my paper on this one. A few years ago, when there was a vacancy for chair, Kevin, who is now chair, and Pete Barnes Sr., my running mate, both decided to run for chair to fill the vacancy. He called me up and he said, who would be a great vice chair to run with me? Who's the best? And I said, that's an easy one, Beatrice. Only one problem, when he called Beatrice up, Kevin had already selected her. What does that tell me? That both people looking to be leaders of the party agreed that this was the perfect candidate and the perfect person for vice chair. I am honored to nominate her, and I am sure all of you will support her for a re-election.
Thank you, Senator. To second the nomination of Beatrice Moskowitz for Vice Chair, the Chair recognizes freeholder Santinera of North Brunswick.
Good evening, everyone. Well, it's Senator Diamond's honor to second the nomination of Beatrice Moskowitz. It's my pleasure. I think almost everyone in this room knows Beatrice and knows that, and if you didn't know this, let me tell you, she has spent the entirety of her adult life fighting for and working for the party's ideals. And which party is the Democratic Party? This is a woman who has made sure, as vice chair, that she has come out to all the towns. She's come out to see everybody and do everything she can to promote the ideals of our Middlesex County Democratic organization. So I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to say that we need to return her to this office so she can continue the excellent work that this organization has done and has been recognized for in the entire state. Thank you.
Thank you, freeholder. Now we will hear from our candidates for vice chair. Again, candidates, you have 10 minutes to speak. First is Charlie Kratovil, running for vice chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization. Please come to the podium and address the county committee members.
Thank you, Mr. Parliamentarian, and thank you to all the dedicated community leaders who serve our party as committee persons, not because you were elected to serve your district this week, but because you serve, win or lose. Now, please give yourselves a round of applause for coming through tonight. And I want to say sincerely congratulations and best of luck to all of you. Now, you've gotten to hear from two fantastic new committee women who bring strong voices here to make our party better, and I'm lucky to know them and so proud of them for getting to be on this committee, and their support means so much to me, so thank you, Niharika and Catherine, for your support. Now, I'm not here to waste anybody's time. I am serious about this, and I'll tell you why. I love Middlesex County. I grew up here in Middlesex Borough. I went to Parker Elementary School. I went briefly to Mauger Middle School, and I eventually moved to Piscataway in 2003 to study at Rutgers University. And I lived on Bush campus at first, but very quickly I fell in love with the city of New Brunswick, where I still live to this day. And I got involved in local government and politics because I saw so many people disenfranchised in my city. I saw so many issues there, and I saw the same little group making all of the decisions. And I decided that we deserve better. Our city deserves better, our county deserves better, and so I got involved in a movement. I helped get 25 people elected to this body in 2009. I started working for nonprofits that advocate for good government and for clean water and protecting our environment. I eventually started a news organization because I saw a need in my city, and it's been an amazing journey, and I've loved to learn the county even more through that work, even if it's sometimes frustrating to be a journalist here. But a wise man once said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I'm running because no matter how many seats the Democrats win here, or how many seats our party might hold at any level, it doesn't matter if we don't have a democracy. It doesn't matter if we don't have the rule of law. And it doesn't matter if we don't have a meaningful platform that we can all stand behind and rally around. So we must use every ounce of power we have to do the most good, right here, right now, on the issues. That means we need to value people's contributions to the party. We need to make sure every dollar that's donated is spent well, that every volunteer hour is as effective as possible, and that every candidate has a clear platform that we can all unite behind and explain to our friends and neighbors when we ask them to vote. And I don't care if we control every legislative office in the country. If Donald Trump is the president, our party and our country are in a severe crisis. It's that simple. This is a crisis that is as yet unseen in our history, and I'm ready to step up and fight that corrupt con artist. I'm willing to stand strong against Trump because, let's face it, there has never been a better candidate for impeachment. Republican prosecutor Robert Mueller has confirmed that it's the official position of the U.S. Justice Department that the president is above the law, that he can literally commit federal crimes and not face prosecution, even if a special counsel has properly been appointed to investigate those crimes. That's not a democracy. It's actually a lot more like a dictatorship. And it hasn't been a democracy because we don't even directly get to elect the president. And we haven't done enough to change that system either. We're backsliding. Our democracy is slipping away from us. And now with all eyes on the party, or on the House of Representatives controlled by our party is blowing it. We're not standing strong enough. We can't afford another minute to go by with the president amassing more power unchecked by those who have the power to check him. We can't afford another minute to go by with him undermining the rule of law in our nation, with him oppressing us all, and with his administration expanding those sick concentration camps where children and families are being held right now. We can't take another minute of it, and I don't care if people think that the Senate won't convict. If we control the House and the president is a criminal, our congressional delegation owes it to the people who sent them to Washington to support the immediate impeachment of the president. But I get even more concerned when I see the chipping away at our democracy that sometimes happens here in our local governments. It makes me sick when I see well-paid lawyers collecting our tax money to argue and fight against our residents. People who simply want to be heard, view public records, or have a voice in their communities. And I get sick when I see politicians in both parties scold members of their communities for running against them, or bringing forth issues, filing open requests, conducting investigations, and yes, even some people criticize me for reporting the news. It makes me sick. It makes me sick when I see my parking authority in New Brunswick come up with new unwritten rules to stifle public comments at their meeting to avoid the real issues and the problems that they cause and perpetuate. When I see my city's Board of Education resist having elections and refuse to videotape their meetings, it makes me sick. And when I see my party punish me, a Democrat, because of my job, because I report the news, it makes me sick. But if I told you there was a mayor pushing a massive privatization, and a town attorney telling the public they won't get to vote on it, even if they get thousands of signatures, what party would you think it was that was saying that?
Republican.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but it's this one. And the worst part about not having clear stances on the issues that matter most is that it allows other parties to capitalize on the issues where we need to be leading. Issues like getting better public transportation, fair taxation, and standing strong against the privatization of our public resources. This happened in Edison just recently, where we had the unfortunate situation of Republicans being more progressive than some of the Democrats in power. Some Democrats resorted to campaign tactics that were childish and mean-spirited, spreading lies that targeted sworn police and a member of our military. And we also have seen shameful attempts to divide our party along racial and ethnic lines as well, not just in Edison, but also in Piscataway and my home city of New Brunswick. Let me be clear, there is no place for that type of politics in our party, plain and simple.
Amen.
Sometimes it seems like we just can't get it together, whether it's the national level, the local level, and even at the state level. We all know we deserve better. As much good and decent legislation that's been passed by our governor, we still haven't sent him that bill to end the prohibition of cannabis. We still haven't sent him that bill to adopt the millionaire's tax, And we still haven't sent him that bill to allow our undocumented brothers and sisters to take the New Jersey driver's test and obtain a license if they pass. There's so much that we haven't done and can't do, even though we control both houses of our legislature here and have the governor in our camp. Part of me thinks that politics might be part of the problem. And if we don't have parties that focus on issues, it becomes another team sport. And as fun as sports are, we don't need more personalities to make the change we need more policies to make the change that we can build support for. And so at some point we must decide whether we're going to be the Democrat Party or the Democratic Party. There's a big difference. We've got to decide whether we want to be the ones who are all about rooting for the team, like this is all some kind of game, or if we're going to be the ones who are all in on the issues, building support for the long haul, practicing what we preach, practicing democracy as a part of this organization. Because guess what? Over the years, the faces change. They may change. They probably will change. But the issues don't change until we come up with real solutions. Everyone in this room, we've had lots of time to recognize that climate change is a serious crisis. And we've taken some baby steps here in New Jersey. But we just can't come up with those solutions we need if we're tied down by the status quo. Change is fundamentally good. We must not fear it. We must embrace it. And the only way our party survives and succeeds in this new landscape is if we start to make it about the issues. Make it about issues like the lack of affordable housing, the mass incarceration, the endless wars. Not all about winning. Not all about amassing power. Not all about controlling your people. Let's make this organization a real democracy. Let's practice what we preach. Let's encourage everyone in this room to attend more government meetings. Speak up. Start campaigns. File those Oprah requests. Circulate petitions. Educate your neighbors. And not just about the candidates, but about the issues. Because the issues are how we will win across the board, from the local races on up to the President of the United States. If we have a good platform that we can all stand behind, we will win. I'll just finish by saying one of the first jobs I had out of college, I worked for a great man named Harry Posicki. Harry served our county as a freeholder and even led this very organization for a couple of years back in the 1990s. And he's the reason that you'll be voting tonight in secret. See, he was elected chairman on a promise of giving power to the committee people. And he promised to change the party bylaws to allow for secret ballot voting so that the committee people were not put in the awkward position of having to decide whether or not to back the bosses in front of the bosses. Harry was a man of his word. He made good on that promise, and because of that, you'll all be able to have your secret ballot tonight. So I want you to remember before you go in there that I want more people involved, not less. I don't want to tell anyone how to run their organization, but I do want democracy to flourish here in our party. And I want issues to be front and center in all of our decisions and our campaigns. I'll never tell any of you not to come to a meeting. I'll never tell any of you not to record a meeting. I'll never tell any of you can't hand out flyers at events like this. And I'll never tell any of you to support a candidate that you don't, deep down in your heart, truly support. This party gets better only if the committee people make it better. And Herb and I are committed to fostering deeper engagement with all of the elected committee members. And change starts with everybody in this room. And as I look out here, it's great to see so many people here, but we still have a lot of work to do. There's 1,230 seats on this committee, and not all of them are full. So remember, no one will know who you vote for tonight. You won't have to worry about your job or your volunteer positions in your town. This is your choice. You earned it. You have the power to decide the direction that our party goes in over the next 365 days. And if you support Herb and myself, we will turn around and give more power to you. We won't stop you from publicizing what goes on here or bringing a friend with you who might want to learn more about our organization. We'll encourage the creation of committees within this body. And for the first time in a long time, we will use a democratic process to discuss and adopt a meaningful platform, one that makes clear where we stand on the most pressing issues of our time. We will have nothing to hide and we will have nothing to fear, because when we truly give power to the people and stand strong behind the values and issues that bring us all together as a party, there will be no stopping us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kratovil. We will now have Vice Chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization.
I'm not worried about the time. My speech is probably shorter than the second speeches that you've heard so far. But thank you. Good evening, Middlesex County. Of course, I'd like to thank Senator Dyke and Freeholder now for their very kind words. But as I was listening, I realized I asked my oldest friend and my newest acquaintance in the political scene to speak and say such nice things about me, so I appreciate that. But that's only in terms of tenure, Patrick, not actual years. So, we're back here now. When Chairman McCabe and I were first voted into these positions, I think it was 2013, 5 people asked to nominate us. They were from all over the county, I'm sure you remember, Senator Smith. And that was important. During those speeches, there were some comments about each of us, Kevin and me personally, citing our very positive individual political histories, since our lives seem to run kind of parallel, and our combined histories as well. There was some humor, often focusing, Patrick, on my first name or the variety thereof. Those of you who are in the in-group know that I have a number of names. And we moved forward from that. There was a singular purpose, and that was behind each speech, to make sure that the committee members, elected officials, current municipal candidates knew the county would be united in its support of Kevin and me. Because the plans were there to make sure that this county would continue growing, expanding its strength, and ensuring a positive quality of life for all of us. In the ensuing years so far, it's resulted in the strongest legislative delegation in the state of New Jersey, and my love of hyperbole, I venture to say greatest in the world, but I'll have to check with the president on that one. We started with a nucleus of excellence, and with the leadership of this administration, those numbers grew. The voters of Middlesex County understand the vision presented by our candidates, voting them into office each term. Our Assembly and Senate representatives are united in purpose, strong in their articulate presentation of policy, and expertly prepared bills. And if you ever get a chance, you really should read those bills. They are wonderful and direct, but I digress, and I do that a lot to get back to my speech. The candidates, they're always accessible and visible because they are the embodiment of the goals of all of us, not personal goals. The synergy that we have here in Middlesex County exists for many reasons. But in my opinion, one major reason was the creation of committees that we started that first year because of the direction of Chairman McCabe. Committees offer opportunities for absolutely everyone to participate positively in county business in a variety of ways. I am a working member of each committee, and as many of you know, I love to highlight the strong, effective relationships amongst the committee members and the resulting strong involvement from the rest of the county that winds up participating in each of the events that those committees put together for all of us to unite and work. 2 simple examples. One committee, our Communications Committee, defined by its members, a conduit of technological growth. I love that. That development group, from the first time saying social media is relevant, that was their presentation, to this past year's best practices handbook. Now we forget, Facebook really was not that prevalent just a number of years ago. And when we had that meeting back then, there were only 2 persons at the time who did in fact have a Facebook page. But everyone who attended was very comfortable in their ignorance, and just as comfortable knowing that the committee that was put together by the county was going to be helpful for each of us. That second presentation by the committee this year was attended by all the mayors and chairs, obviously much more knowledgeable in the value of what we now call new media. But more memorable to me was the subsequent meeting that was called, I believe, by Chairman Zengara and Chairman Ted Light, who was out here.
We had Mayor Wanda from Councilwoman Ludas was there, and it was a meeting specifically asking for help and questions to help them personally, of course, and for their communities. To me, that was a wonderful example of the hardworking people we have here in this county. United in our purpose, definitive about the very strengths we each have, and certainly demonstrative when we get our grand results. We don't worry about titles, we worry about results. Somewhat less intense, but notable, were two social committee events this year. We had our 4th annual trivia night. It was scheduled for a day that was threatened by the worst snow and ice storm, as you remember, on the news and on TV. When I got to the venue, the place was filled. Everyone was there, from Mayor McCormick, who was the moderator extraordinaire, to Speaker Coughlin, who came with his team, hoping to repeat his victory from the year before. The place was filled. Tables, Mayor Cohn was there with his team. Elsie, you were there as well. People showed up to meet, to laugh, and work with each other and show support for each other and the county. When Chairman McCabe came, stopping in to see the action and greeting all the participants, he was cheered, but he knew to maintain neutrality because Metuchen had its own team. We only came in third that year. Similarly, this summer, we held a wine tasting event in Highland Park. Fabulous restaurant, no air conditioning. Again, the place was packed. Creole Samara, you were there. Nobody left because they wanted to work with each other, they wanted to discuss things with each other, they were that comfortable, the camaraderie that was there. We have technology, social committee, different themes, similar goals for our county. Different means of engagement, similar results. My motto, I think, has become make sure the tables are filled. Looking out at all of you, I should say make sure the chairs are filled. I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. I'd like to say that we may be the second largest county in the state, but we are the first largest in personal supported interaction amongst all of our citizens, whatever our values, however our beliefs are. We support each other because we can articulate with each other. I have been a hardworking, active Democrat from the time I was handed my citizenship papers from a judge who smiled down at me and said he was proud that I knew all the answers to his questions. Since then, I've been proud during my lifetime to continue to ask questions, but more proud to help find the answers that works best for all of us. A variety of ideas is important, but melding those ideas into positive action is most important. Leadership is important, but effective leadership is most important. I ask for your support to continue working with the excellence of Chairman McCabe and, of course, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatrice. Those are your candidates for Vice Chair. We will move now to nominations for Chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization. Again, just a brief reminder, candidates have 10 minutes to speak. If you're nominating a candidate, you have 5 minutes to speak. And if you're seconding a nomination, you have 1 minute to speak. Please follow these timelines if you can. To nominate Herb Tarbous of Piscataway for Chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization, Chair recognizes Piscataway County Committeewoman Kamala Tillman.
Good evening, everybody. I am Kamala Nikki Tillman, and I am so humbled and inspired and proud to be the new committee representative for Piscataway's Ward 3, District 2 neighborhood. Now, let me just add this disclaimer. I am not a politician. Nor do I want to be one. But I am a proud single mother of 3 incredible children who are stellar products of the amazing public education system in our town, and who make up my fierce but dynamic tribe. I am a passionate and driven special education and English teacher and an advocate for the needs of students and adults with disabilities, a singer and an amateur bodybuilder who simply loves and is passionate about my Piscataway Township community in this great state that I live in. Yep, I'm a Jersey girl. And for the first time, I have been able to give something back to the state and the communities of New Jersey that have given me so much. Because you see, for the first time in Middlesex County's history, I am one of 2 women who are representing one district as a county committee woman. Can I just tell you that the people are speaking and they're making their choices and their voices loud and clear. As some of you may have heard, we have been making changes to our community in Piscataway and around Middlesex County, because we believe democracy truly works best when we're all involved in the process and that everyone is heard. Now that's why I was so proud to be a part of the challenge to the outdated rule that limited the number of seats women could have as a county committee to only half, and completely disenfranchise our non-binary neighbors and other members of the LGBT community. I am thrilled we won the right to run for our sisters and our friends, and I'm here to tell you that progress and change is coming to Middlesex County, one way or another. Can I just tell you, the people are speaking, and they're making their voices and their choices resonate loud and clear. I'm a living witness to it, because the only way that I'm able to stand before you today is because of their voices and their choices. Because God knows I could not have done it without them. And what I found out when I knocked on doors, sent out text messages, or postcards or email, is the one thing my grandmama always said to me. She said, baby, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And the one thing I can tell you is that I knew nothing about canvassing, campaigning, the position, or who even my committee person was. But what I did know is that I care about the power of my voice, because it was sacred to me. I care about my community, my neighbors, and my state. And I took that passion to neighbors in everyday exchanges and dialogue and found out that they care too, just like me. And then become sick and tired of being sick and tired of no one else caring with or for them. So can I just tell you that people are speaking, and they're making their voices and their choices resonate loud and clear. So collectively, we proclaimed and pooled our cares and our voices together to make a bold statement that we will no longer compromise our voices or become complacent about the needs or concerns and lay them at the foot of those who have not earned the right to advocate for it or have somehow disconnected themselves from those people who they are to represent as part of their professional and political call. So can I just tell you that people are speaking, and they're making their voices and choices resonate loud and clear. So therefore, it has become incumbent upon us to wake up and recognize that this is not the same Middlesex County of 10, 15, or even 20 years ago. The dynamics, demographics, and socioeconomic makeup has changed so much over the years that we cannot rule this with business as usual attitude, casualty to those who are here to serve. They're the only reason we got here. So can I just tell you that people are speaking and they're making their voices and their choices resonate loud and clear. But I believe we can best accomplish that with new leadership to nurture and bolster the enthusiasm people have for their ever-growing changes taking places in our state, our nation, and our world. There's so much stake in our communities. Building a bench of committed community leaders who engage voters and residents. We don't need leaders to talk at us. We need people who will truly listen and hear. But Herb Tarbous, unfortunately, we have a lot of leaders in our party who don't talk. They don't actually take the time to listen or respect the voters at the grassroots level. But Herb Tarbous did that. He stood up for the least among us. He urged our party to use his voice for their inclusion and diversity, and claim to want our party that is better. Our party needs leaders to corporate interests who listen to all of us making decisions. Herb Tarbous is that person. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Committeewoman. To second the nomination of Herb Tarbous, the chair recognizes Plainsboro County Committeewoman Lawrence Gronsky.
I don't know why I agreed to go after Nikki. I should have known first, right? That's gonna sweet. I've lived in Plainsboro for over 12 years, and happy to be the person representing the Plainsboro tonight. I have a professional background in sustainability, climate change, climate change reform, civic engagement, and community development. I worked for Harry City as well for over about a decade, many of you who which you know. I also believe in choice. I think that having various points of view and options for an election like tonight's can only help to strengthen the party. And over the past 3 years, I've seen her on the front lines fighting for Medicare for all, living wage, climate change reform like the Green New Deal, and campaign finance reform, which is an issue near and dear to my own heart. I'm impressed by his commitment to those progressive ideals that I strongly believe in, and I think there's lots of you here in this room that also believe in these, and I think that a fresh point of view is a good thing, and that's why I second the nomination for her for chair.
Thank you, Committeewoman. To nominate Kevin McCabe of Woodbridge and Metuchen for chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization, the chair recognizes freeholder Ken Armwood of Piscataway.
Before I get started, how about those column B Democrats? We mopped up on election day, and I want to congratulate you, and I want to thank you for your support onward to November for victory. It is an honor and a privilege to put forth the nomination of our current chairman, Kevin McCabe. I want you to harken back, yes. Let's go back to 2013, when we were told here in Middlesex County that the Chris Christie tsunami was going to come through and wipe us out. Town to town, border to border, we had no chance. See, back then, no one wanted to compete for the chair, but let's not let the facts get in the way of a good story. Back then, Kevin McCabe stepped up, took leadership of this organization, and not only did we win, we won by a huge plurality that even the governor with an 80% approval rating couldn't defeat here in Middlesex County. My hometown, I like to call it God's land, P-Way. Those Piscataway Democrats in 2017 had a challenge to the organization. Not only did they step up to the challenge, they defeated the opponent almost in every seat, only losing 5. And you're right, the people are talking. Because in 2019, the challenge came again and we only lost 3. Ladies and gentlemen, those who seek to lead you should not call you a corrupt organization. Not a single person in here ran to be a corrupt politician. Not a single person in here ever volunteered to be corrupt. We have our hands stained with the paint of putting up signs for Dave Craven, putting up signs for Ren Travisano, putting up signs for those leaders we have. Kevin McCabe has ensured that our Board of Chosen Freeholders reflects the diversity that is here, not only in this organization, but in Middlesex County. a challenge. No one's afraid of a challenge. We've seen great challenges within this organization. We've seen Jim Polos versus Millie Scott, but in the end, Jim Polos was still part of our family. And we've seen Kevin McCabe versus Peter Barnes. Kevin didn't decide to wipe you out of your seat. Kevin decided that he would become chair of this organization and work with you to ensure Democratic victories around the county. That's a leader. That's who I need with me when I'm going to battle. And this will be a battle. This will continue because the opposition says, well, you're afraid of a challenge. No one's afraid of a challenge, but no one's giving you anything. No one's rolling over. We will not, and I'm telling you from Piscataway to Middlesex County, if you want these seats, then you better be ready for a fight. No one is giving you anything. We will fight for what you want, like anyone else. Middlesex County Democrats, Kevin McCabe, Beatrice Moskowitz have been here for us through thick and thin. Remember who was there when you were making those phone calls on the phone bank. Remember when you were handing out flyers. Look around and see who was your leadership when you were there. Not a single one of you is a corrupt individual, and don't let anybody tell you that you are. We are a proud Democratic family. We will fight, and we need our leadership in Kevin McCabe and Beatrice Moskowitz. Let's go, Middlesex County Democrats.
To second the nomination of Kevin McCabe, Chair recognizes Chairwoman Tish Coughlin of Woodbridge.
How about our freeholder, Kenny Armwood? Hello everyone, welcome to Woodbridge. We are so very proud here of our former chair, Kevin McCabe, who reimagined the chairmanship and made it a seat of power in the state of New Jersey. He also put central New Jersey on the map for the very first time. He built a tremendous organization here, which is professional and state-of-the-art, and they share the resources with every municipality and every organization in our county. I am very happy and proud, after 25 years of friendship, to second the nomination of Kevin McCabe for chairman of the Middlesex County.
Thank you, Chairwoman. And now for our candidates, we will first have Herb Tarbous, candidate for chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization. Please come to the podium and address the county committee members for 10 minutes.
Good evening. You just heard from Nikki Tillman, a newly elected committeewoman from Piscataway, and Lauren Skoronsky, a veteran committeewoman from Plainsboro. I consider myself very fortunate to count both these women as my friends in the ever-growing grassroots democracy movement here in Middlesex County. Also, thank you to Chairman McCabe and Vice Chair Moskowitz for being such gracious hosts and competitors in this contest tonight. And a big thank you to the MCDO staff who are tasked with preparing for and hosting tonight's event. And most of all, I thank you, the committee members, for being here this evening and affording me this opportunity to speak and participate in our democracy. Tonight, I'm asking for your vote so that I may serve as chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization. I'm asking for your vote because I believe that the Democratic Party has reached a crossroads, a point where we must choose between the politics of the past and the Democratic Party of the future, a point where we must acknowledge the profound changes taking place in the electorate and in the concerns, hopes, and dreams of the working and middle-class voters we represent. We're at a point where we must embrace the progressive and forward-thinking legacy of our party's past so that we will once again become the party of bold ideas for the future. I'm not here tonight to speak ill of my opponent. In fact, I believe that when we sit down, we will agree on a great many things, as most Democrats do. For example, I'm sure that every person in this room tonight would agree that in Donald Trump, we have a president who is absolutely unfit for office, and that every one of us will be working to defeat him in 2020. We all agree on that. We can all agree on that, and that is good. However, there are also things that Democrats do not agree upon, and that is good as well. For it's precisely disagreement, debate, and reasoned and passionate and principled dialogue over how to address the most critical problems facing our state and our nation that will create a higher level of unity among our ranks. We can no longer afford to pretend that there are not legitimate differences of opinion within our party. We can no longer afford to marginalize our progressives, our activists, and our youth who are demanding bold and principled action from our leaders. We can no longer afford to treat our fellow party members as enemies when they exercise their most basic democratic rights and run for office in a primary election. They are not our enemies, they are our teammates who are looking to strengthen our competitive position. Incumbents may not like competition, but that does not change the fact that competition is good and healthy for our democracy. Competition is what makes us better. Competition is what forces us to take a good look at who we are and who we want to be. Competition makes us stronger and better, able to defeat the right-wing forces, the enemies of peace and justice and freedom, who we become emboldened in a very real way in our nation today. And that is why I stand before you today. Because there must always be a choice. There must always be a competition of ideas and ideals. There must always be a time when we take a reckoning of our agreements and differences and decide how to best move forward. It is in this committee and committees like this all across our state where people like you, the heart and soul and backbone of our party, must have the opportunity to direct our leaders to fight not for what is easy or politically expedient, but for what you believe our constituents want and what you believe is best for our county, our state, and our nation. I believe that the Middlesex County Democratic organization must take principled stands on the issues of the day, and we must hold our elected leaders, the leaders that we put into office, we must hold them accountable. As the leader of the NCDO, my commitment to you will be to attract, develop, and retain the talent needed to mobilize the abundant and enthusiastic leadership energy available to us here in New Jersey. And we will attract leaders who will stand against corruption and bigotry in every form. Because leadership is not about service and empowerment. Because leadership is about service and empowerment. It's not about controlling the outcomes with corruption and bigotry. I believe that our local governments on every level must be a model of transparency, participation, and integrity, and that the local officials we support must be held responsible for ensuring that happens. I believe that this state should pass a millionaire's tax in this year's budget, and that our elected officials should be funding for that. And I applaud the hundreds of activists who showed up at the State House this afternoon supporting that legislation. I believe that this state should fully fund the pensions of our state workers, as promised. Without once again trying to reduce their salaries and benefits. I believe that the unprecedented crisis of climate change brings with it unprecedented opportunity to transform our economy with the green technology and manufacturing jobs that will be the high-paying, unionized jobs of the future. And the time for our elected officials to act on a Green New Deal is now.
Yes.
I believe that we should have Medicare for all, and that the congresspeople and senators we support for elections should be fighting for that right now. I believe that we should have ranked choice voting nationwide to make our elections truly democratic, and that we can start right here in Middlesex County. I applaud the foresight, the courage, and wisdom of Assemblyman Andrews Brunswick for introducing Assembly Bill 85205 to bring ranked choice voting to our elections here in New Jersey. This is the MCDO I envision. One that is not afraid to pay attention to clear trends occurring with the younger generations in their vision of the world. A democratic organization that evolves with time instead of resisting change. These are the things I believe in. These are the things that I would fight for as chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization. Many of you here tonight likely agree with some of these things, perhaps many of them. Some of you may disagree, some may be unsure, and that's okay. We shouldn't and won't always agree on anything. We should always be talking about these and other issues facing our county, our state, and our nation. We should be figuring out what we want our elected officials to support, and we should always have a choice. That's democracy, that's what I believe in, and that's what I can fight for. For tonight, I wish you wisdom and peace as you make your decision, and I'm very proud to be your teammate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tarbous. We will have Kevin McCabe, candidate for chair of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization, come to the podium and address the county committee members.
Thank you very much. Let's hear it for our parliamentarian, Dave Danvers. Oh, this is great. I only thought there were 2 rows of people behind me. I didn't realize this is a great time. I want to thank and recognize, well, of course, the great freeholder, Kenny Armwood. Of course, I want to recognize the true power in the Coughlin family. Craig, you may be the speaker, but there's only one chair. Tish, thank you so much. I learned something tonight too, and that is I got a 3-year-old who's potty trained, so now when he says, "Hey Daddy, I gotta go to the bathroom," I'm gonna say, "Hold it, we're going to Peeway." Hey, watch it. I can get it. I'm out of it. I hadn't heard that abbreviated term before, the great town of Piscataway. He is money. To my wonderful partner for everything that she does, not only for me personally, to this executive board, but to everyone out there, we owe a wonderful debt of gratitude to our terrific job, and she did a terrific job tonight. Vice Chair. And also, I do want to recognize both Herb and Charles. It is not easy, and I know this, to put forth your name for any reason. When you're an elected official, when you put your name on that ballot, you open up yourself to a lot. It takes courage, it takes a little fortitude. And to the both of you, we do agree on a lot. I appreciate your efforts. I look forward to working with you in the future. I'd like to win. But to both of you, sincerely, thank you for being part of the process. And also to everyone here, to the county committee, to council, to our legislative body, who indeed put their names up this year. Congratulations to all those who are re-elected, and for those who are here for the first time, welcome to the Middlesex County Democratic Organization. There is nothing like it in the world. It's what you make out of it. On behalf of Beatrice and I, we'd like to say thank you. And we'd also like to just say thank you for allowing us to appear before you tonight for this job interview. Hopefully we do pass the test. But ultimately that is up to each and every individual in this room. And I'll speak to that a little bit later. But 6 years ago, the Vice Chair and I stood before this body. And we asked for your trust, your faith, your understanding, and our abilities to lead this party. That we were going to put forth a vision and a plan. That we were going to look to redefine and repurpose the Middlesex County Democratic Organization. As great as it was, like any organization, it could always be better. And this is an evolution. I stand before you tonight, and I don't take this lightly. This is a job interview. No one has the corner on the good idea market. This is why we put together these committees. This is why we have an inclusive, open party. This is why this hall is filled tonight. Because of people in this room, I believe, and I believe the Vice Chair would agree with me, feel like they are part of something over the last 6 years. At least I hope so. And we hear it. But we don't take this lightly. And with that, you are kind enough to allow us and elect us and put forth your trust, your understanding, and your work and your worthiness in us to effectuate the plan. And we did. The freeholder spoke to it earlier. 2013, we were supposed to get wiped out, this tsunami. And what we did do, working together, and by the way, that was our first election working together, as well as the sheriff and Charlie Kennedy. And there were times, believe me, there were times during that election where I'd go home to my wife and say, am I screwing up? And she would say yes. But she said not about the election. Because what we were doing at that point in time is doing exactly what everyone has been saying here tonight. We put forth new strategies, new ways of looking at a 21st century operation. And that's what elections have become. At its core, that is our job, is to run the apparatus to make sure that the people in this room get elected. Every year there's a cycle where someone's running. And we take that very seriously. I think back to when we were the first county to employ the Obama model in 2013. The first county, we were only the third county in the nation. And believe you me, again, there was pushback. But there was validation as well. Not only did we win, but the response by some of those who didn't support me, or Beatrice, came to us and said, and one in particular said, I don't know what the hell you did, but I think it worked. I said, I think so too. Hopefully it works next year. But that was the model. Fast forward to last year and this year, there isn't a county out there that I could think of who is doing more digitally or online. We plant the seeds every year. We think there's a better way to make a widget. Beatrice is at the forefront of that, by the way, on the social media and communications committee. The ideas that that committee bring forth are essential and integral to what we do, just like a lot of the other committees. We took those strategies, whether it be modeling, digital, vote by mail, and where we are today. And I want to recognize, I don't know if you see our Chief Strategic Officer, Scott Snyder, and Edie Delgado. Thank you. We're asked to go before the state committee to talk about the Middlesex County vote by mail effort, because it is, in fact, one of the aspects by which we are recognized among many. And kudos to the Freeholder Director and Freeholder Board for understanding that it is not acceptable, and then in 2015, that people should be paying to vote. And they went out of their way, line item it, and guess what? When you want to vote by mail, you don't have to pay to vote. Kudos to the Freeholder Director and the entire team. So we had this plan, and what do? What we had to do was make sure we built our infrastructure, town by town by town by town. It was a core tenet of what we said we wanted to do. And I want to talk about three in particular. One is Denellen, which doesn't often jump at the forefront of all the towns that we have here in Middlesex County, but it is indeed a town in Middlesex County. And whether you're Edison or Woodbridge or East Brunswick or a small town like Denellen, or my friends from Jamesburg are here tonight, we will work with you. Yeah, they clap too. That's great. That wasn't happening for you. And what they did is they allowed us to work with them. And Denellen now is in the majority. East Brunswick. reflected upon it, we actually had a great conversation with many of you and said, what do we need to do better? We actually went and not only pulled it, but focus grouped it. We rearranged our messaging. We came up with a better way of listening on how we could do this. And guess what? Fast forward, not only are we in the majority, Republicans are now becoming Democrats on the council in East Brunswick. And this year, our good friends of Sayreville are going to achieve something that they've been looking for the last 20 years, in my opinion. And they have been building this up, Chairman Palando and his entire team, for the last 4 years. And guess what? I believe they're going to be able to obtain this year. There will be a Democratic mayor in Sayreville. Legislatively, I don't know if we could be in a stronger position. It's not because of Kevin McCabe. It's not because of Beatrice Moskowitz. So yes, it's always about Beatrice. Gotta be careful. But it's about the leadership that has galvanized together to understand that all the talent in the world, and I would differ with the gentleman on this, we have some of the most progressive, forward-thinking individuals who are chairpeople of their respective committees. From Bob Smith on environment, to Joe Vitale on health, to Joe Egan on labor, and of course, to Nancy on environment, Nancy Pinkett. And in this last session alone, under this speaker, not only was it the most active and productive assembly session, legislative session in recent memory, but it is in fact one of the most progressive legislative sessions in the last 35 years. That's what we say. Beyond that, we shouldn't just gloss over the fact that Middlesex County does have, what I happen to believe, and I said this before, not only is the speaker, but it is the right person at the right time in a difficult ecosystem, no doubt, down in Trenton. We'd be lying if we didn't speak to that. But with that, it takes poise, leadership, understanding, and someone of his skill set has done it. Speaker, you've been a wonderful leader for this party. They're not here tonight, but I think we have two of the best leaders in Congress in Middlesex County, and Frank Lowe and Bonnie Watson-Cole. This was last year alone, because we knew we had two really strong progressive minds, and we knew we were going to win. What we did last year was we created the Federal Action Network. And what did we do? Middlesex County, knowing we were blue, we wanted to turn red to blue in other counties. We did phone banking, fundraising, people went out, and we went into places like the 7th District, 11th District, all other districts throughout the state to help turn red to blue. And it was because of people in this room. There are a lot of great things that we can point to and go down the line. But I do harken back, and Charlie was talking about this earlier. I know, Dave's getting nervous, I'm going to wrap it up. Roll call as necessary. But in 1992, I became a county committee person. I was 19 years old. My good friend Gary Tappan is here, he's chief of staff then for Mayor Bruno. And in fact, and Senator Vitale was the chair. And I happened to be part of this wonderful moment by which, in fact, the rules of today were actually guided and effectuated in large part by the county committee in Woodbridge. And it's always been a sense of pride because it talks about transparency and understanding that your vote, your one vote, makes a difference and matters. Look, talked about it earlier. We take this very seriously, Beatrice and I. And this is not, my wife reminds me, is, best paid job unit that you don't get paid for. And that's okay. And I will warn you, gentlemen, if in fact you do ever attain this position, you better ask for another day because it's an 8-day-a-week job to do it right. But I will say this. We hold this responsibility very near and dear. And working with each and every one of you is what gets us going in juice to come before you today. Large part of why we love this is we have developed, and I can speak personally, I know Beatrice would as well. The relationships we have built over the last 6 years have been meaningful and true. Not only old friends that I've been working with for 25 years, as Tish alluded to, my friends from Woodbridge, but also new ones. Those who weren't exactly my biggest supporters 6 years ago are some of those individuals I work with the closest now. Because it's understanding that you may have at that moment a disagreement, but this is part of what we love about democracy. We'll leave here tonight and hopefully we'll go on and have a better way and a better path forward to making this organization that much stronger. But those relationships are not something we take for granted, and I hope everyone knows that. Simply stated, we stood here 6 years ago before you, humble and asked for your help. We're back. And simply what we want to do is ask for your support again. Because I promise you this, if in fact we walk out of here and Beatrice and I are the victors, we will take this as seriously as anything that we do. And we will deliver and work with each and every one of you to ensure that the Middlesex County Democratic Organization of today is that much better tomorrow. I can't thank each and every one of you enough for the last 6 years, and I certainly hope that we can continue to work together in our current capacity and ask you once again for your trust and understanding from both Beatrice and I and our entire team to carry forward to make sure that our legislative team gets reelected, our freeholder and constitutional officers get reelected, our council gets reelected, and that Middlesex County continues to be the model Democratic organization as we believe it to be in New Jersey. To all of you, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman McCabe. We're almost ready to begin voting, but before we do it, I'd like to show everyone the sample ballots. Okay, so as you can see, candidate for Democratic Chair, Candidate Pete McCabe, Herb Tarbous, candidates for Democratic Committee Vice Chair, Charlie Kratovil and Beatrice Moskowitz. You have to mark both ballots, one for chair and one for vice chair. There's not a ticket style of voting, so please mark both ballots. Finally, before calling everyone to vote, I'd like to go over some of the ground rules. Voting will continue until everyone... Thank you. We're almost there, folks. When it appears the voting is concluded, I will announce a last call and encourage people to cast their ballots. After that, the machines will be locked, and each candidate and one representative will be invited to join staff and myself to count the ballots. Okay, we're just about ready to begin the voting. Everyone please remain in your seats. We're going to start with the standing folks in the back. There is a tall gentleman named Scott. Scott, can you please raise your hand? So only the people standing in the back need to worry about this. Please line up behind Scott. If you're standing in the back only, line up behind Scott. We will start there, and then we will go row by row from the back forward. Volunteers will tell you when your row is ready to be called. So again, please keep your seats. Only the folks in the standing in the back will be voting now. Thank you.